Anyway, I presume you're going to want to go in to see the Baron. We'll send a messenger, let him know you're coming. And he just kind of looks at the sodden folk. Says, y'all might want to clean up before you go seeing someone as important as the Baron.
I know.
I kind of look down at myself and go, what's wrong with what I got on?
Well,
you're
not so much, though you look like you've spent a day in the wilderness. But, we can smell the others from here.
Oh, yeah. He smells like poop. at Devin.
I'd head over to Archer's and see if they can't get you cleaned up.
Where is this Archer's place?
Well, the Archer's Chalice is, and you see, he puts he puts two thumbs inside the lip of his trousers and just kind of turns to the side and then points off in one direction. Says, "Oh, you're going to want to go over that direction. Just look for the bow and arrow signpost. It's usually where the beginning fallen around here start." The innkeeper, Akist, he'll get you squared away.
Will you be going with us, Euro?
Bigger problems to deal with.
Like what?
Well, problems that you wouldn't understand, small child.
But, are you sure you can't go with us?
You really don't have to, of course.
Please.
I don't need to help, Trist. You are an independent person.
Ikishi starts walking forward to where the guy had pointed at.
And he just kind of speaks and says, "Oh, and hey," just gets all of your attention. He goes, "There's no trouble here, we understand?"
Point taken.
Well, I don't get into trouble. That one does. And I point at the cat.
There's no trouble here.
I pout, but look down.
As long as there's none started with me, there won't be any with you.
Well, then there won't be any with me.
Fantastic. Going to Archer's.
Anyway.
I follow Poop Guy.
So, Ural, I presume you're just going to kind of head your own way?
For now, I mean, if the Baron is around, I'd like to get his opinion, or if anyone who in this town is somewhat, in tune with what's going on in the world, I'd like to get their opinion on those samples of the, diseased, flower.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, let them clean themselves up, you know? I've been talking a lot.
Well, there's Elanduil. They're the alchemist. They put potions, concoctions together, and they do work kind of close with your more shamanistic brothers and sisters. They have a really bad tendency of blowing things up, but they seem to know their stuff. Whether or not his shop is in one piece at the moment or not, depends on the day that ends in Y.
So that doesn't bother me.
But anyway, we'll leave it to the other four. So you four are headed to Archer's then.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The Archer's Chalice, as you sort of make your way down the road, you notice the town itself. You're used to grand, tall buildings of stone and metal. The fancier things inlaid with gold and gems. Rubies used as light sources in the darker parts of the day. Places where you might find any kind of respite or amenity just really at your fingertips. This is a dirt-trodden crap hole compared to that. There's not likely to be a lick of magic as far as the eye can see. In fact, Devin,
Me.
Give me an Arcana check.
Yes.
Actually,
7.
everyone can, now that I think about it.
Arcana is there. 15.
15.
Not 20.
Well, you worked in the stables of nobility, so yeah, you'd probably know this too.
I
Other
got
two?
a 10.
10.
All right, so we'll start with tens. You have a general idea. The things that kind of make up what you know of as home, the lighting, the cleanliness of the streets, and all of that. A lot of it is reliant upon magic. So maybe they're short of wizards, possibly. They, it's possible whatever means they have for casting spells, maybe they just aren't around. Um, 15, yeah, you notice no utilization of magic at all. There is no sense of the arcane in the area. And in fact, as you have started walking around and looking around, other people are kind of looking at you a little suspiciously. Jace, you go above and beyond your deduction, and you feel your connection to the natural magics that ebb and flow within you. You do not feel that connection with any of the denizens here. And in fact, they're all seemingly looking at your face, and you notice that their um their features are affixed a little more above your eyes than simply on your face.
I consciously kind of wipe that area and then look at the back of my hand to see if anything comes off.
There seems to be nothing. Now that said, you have been used to this, but it occurs to you. You look at Devon and you look at Kaya. Yikashi is not one of these types that have the arcane coursing through them. However, the other two, you see veins almost uh, dark and green kind of running along their foreheads, starting at a focal point betwixt their eyebrows.
That's interesting.
At the moment, it is small, but noticeable. And you start to wonder if it's the same with you.
Is there like a pool of water, any polished metal, glass nearby that I could peer at real quick?
As you all look through you're just kind of wandering through town heading towards Archer's. You do see what looks to be a small blacksmith, and you look for some kind of polished metal coming across a suit of armor, just kind of sitting there on the edge. You look, and though it's very, very cloudy, this not being a particularly well polished surface, you see that you too have the same darkish green veins running from the middle, from in between your eyebrows upward.
Uh, well, that's new. That wasn't there when I woke up this morning. Wonderful. Have to look into that more later. Um, I go back to the group and I'm just like, so this, and I point at my face. The screen stuff, not there.
Yeah, you all turn and look, and you notice that he's got this green splotch coming off of his forehead that I mentioned.
Not there this morning. Brand new.
What in the world?
Did a bird poop on you?
I mean, if a bird pooped on me, it pooped on you, and it pooped on you as I point at the gnome.
You two look
He's
at each
right.
other.
You guys
and
all have the same mark.
Mhm.
Poop marks.
The mark is different for each of you. For uh for Jace, it's almost an ivy-like series of vines. For Devon, it seems less like spiked rosy vines and more like um a brand or a branding. It seems to almost have a pattern to it that is manifesting. For Melina, it is a singular runic shape. And listed, looking at it, it's A little difficult to make out at first, but there is simply the runic symbol for R.
Do we all know that it's the runic symbol for R?
Yes, and it is branded in kind of almost a glow.
Are you guys feeling okay? Did you guys run into anyone before we all came together?
I ran into you.
I fell from the sky.
Other than that.
Yeah. Outside of big dude, no.
And it doesn't hurt, right?
I poke it, no.
No, nothing. It feels natural.
So we can
Well, if-
see each other's. Sorry, out of game. So we can see each other's
Foreheads. Yeah.
green thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each of you, and it would seem, now that you are aware of this, it would seem everyone else can see it too, and some people give you a wide berth after they notice it.
So normally, being too weird can usually lead to problems, and I'm gonna say that we are sticking out like sore thumbs.
Yeah, let's hurry up and get to this shop.
You do actually. As soon as you start talking, you step through the archer's chalice. It is a 2-story thatch and uh, stucco. That's it. Sorry. Tavern, and you know, your taverns are grand and marble, and you know, actors present epics and great stories. This merely has the sound of a single so-so musician performing in the corner. Everyone else is hunched over, nursing ales and drinks, spreading stories, having some people seem to be having a late lunch. The tavern, however, is for the most part quiet. You see at the front, seeming cleaning up the lunches rush, a stout and rather aged looking dwarf.
I
On my height.
No, he's about a foot, and he's at least a foot to 2 feet taller than you.
But
I'd
I
say
feel
at
tall.
least a foot taller than you.
Yes, but I think tall.
I move up to the dwarf. We were directed to come here to get sorted out, I think was the term used.
Ugh, and puts it away and goes, "Ah, Costi, huh? Costi's the name. Watching over this tower is my, oh, by the divines." And he just locks on your foreheads.
Yeah, we don't know where they came from.
Yeah, wasn't here this morning. Don't know.
And he grabs he reaches under the table or the bar, and he pulls out 4 large frothy mugs of what you hope is ale. He goes, "You'll be needing this. So, welcome to Dissonance. I'm going to assume."
One moment.
I've had
Before he can even finish what he's saying, I've actually already finished the ale. Like as soon as he set it down, it was gone.
It's an interesting mix. You don't taste anything untoward in it, but it could be better. It's definitely like, you know, when you I don't think anyone here's ever been to Florida. Have y'all been to Florida?
I've been to Florida.
Okay, so you know when you go to the welcome center and the orange juice is watered down?
Mhm.
Oh god.
What?
Yeah, that.
Watered down orange juice?
Yeah, they cut corners. It's pretty clearly the cheap stuff that he probably can't sell, but it's free.
Tough times. Tough times.
No, just it's free.
I
And
can't argue with free, so I chug
yeah.
it.
Yeah. So I'd be imagining you 4 have had a pretty eventful day so far.
That's the understatement of the current millennia.
Well, I was chased down by a monster. I was held against my will by a cat. And then I travel from Timbuktu to get here through rocks, peril, and poop. So yes, it was quite a journey.
Well, what can I say? But allow me to be the first denizen of Dissonance to welcome you to Hithlines, creation of the great artist herself.
Oh, so this place has a name.
Yes, yes. Bachuna herself named it before she took up her home beyond, and he just kind of waves his hand up there. Can't say I've ever seen it, but I've heard stories from my mother and father. They spoke quite highly of it. Somewhat.
Hmm.
Anyway, well, they were so kind to other people that fell that when they were no longer able to take care of the chalice, sort of fell to me to take on the position. But if you don't mind my saying, two things. Number one, I understand traversing through the manure. However, I don't believe you're supposed to swim in it. We do have baths. Or we can get you a bit washed off down in the basement. And
Please.
second, there is something, and he's going to reach down and he produces 3 traveling cloaks. And he says, "This will help with that for now, as they are hooded."
I go ahead and throw mine on and pull the hood up. It's
Cool. So yeah, I'll put mine on too.
it's a bit awkward over Jace's horns, but
It'll do for now. So, 3 of you, I'm sure you all have many questions, but let's get you cleaned up while I get the welcoming committee sorted out, as it were.
Hmm.
You will be, of course, asked a series of questions as to what you're doing here. And needless to say, the Baron does not appreciate falsehoods. So, just warning you now, it's a quick way to ending up back out there. And this time, you won't have any friends to pluck you out of the wilderness.
Noted.
fair enough.
All right.
So, it doesn't take you all long to get cleaned up. However, the bathing facilities are private enough. There's certainly a visual break. It's not particularly tall.
Okay.
Is there any discussions you wish to have or things you want to do, or do you just get to cleaning up?
So we're in a
Clean
tavern?
up.
Well, if you're going to wash off, you're down in the basement.
Is the basement creepy?
It's wooden.
Hmm.
It certainly looks like the boards have been replaced more than once. Care has been taken to ensure that, at least looks like the boards have been wrapped in something to cut down on moisture, but it's a bit musky. It's certainly not the undercellars of the grand homes that once called your own.
Wait, so this is where they bathe? Like,
Yes.
ugh.
We're bathing here.
Wait. Is it public bathing?
Yes.
It's semi-public. There is a protective panel between the baths, but that's about it.
Probably what, chest height?
Yeah, about chest height.
I do like a magic strip too, like ta-da!
Well, unless you're every voyeur's dream, you do that in privacy, I assume.
Mm.
Hmm.
And I bathe.
Yeah, Jace is getting clean and getting the hell out of there as fast as possible.
I take my time.
Same. Yikashi is paying attention to her fur most definitely, and her tail. It most
The
likely has gunk on it.
the water is it's room temperature.
Oh, that's not
Um, yeah,
At least
it could be worse. It could
yeah,
be
it's just
worse.
not nipply.
Yeah, it could be worse. As far as soap, not really. There's what appears to be some kind of plant or herb that you kind of rub on yourself, that or you rub onto a cloth, and yeah, but there's not like soap.
It's fine.
Yeah, good enough.
Yeah. Don't think there's any conversation going on here.
I don't smell like
Nah.
poop anymore. I say that out loud too.
It's what?
I don't smell like poop anymore. Devin, do you smell like poop? Not anymore? You
Not
good?
anymore, but now I got whatever this plant is. It's not entirely unpleasant, but
Smells woodsy.
it's
Yeah.
not, perfume.
That's true.
Yikashi gets dressed and just starts heading back up to see where that what's it? Axty, he said?
Yeah, Acosti, I believe.
Acosti. Jeez.
So there is kind of a process to this. You all come up. So Devin, when you come up, the dwarf kind of gives you a bit of an eye and goes, "Did you bathe with the aromatic herbs?"
Wasn't that what they were there for?
No, you sprinkle them in the water and then you ask them to. You know what? I have a. Never mind. That'll get you settled. One thing at a time. First of all, and he's going to motion, and you see one gentleman dressed in what passes for fineries in this village. He appears very clean, unlike a good portion of the outside. He wears a series of red and gold robes, carries a number of parchments in his possession, and he is accompanied by two much stouter, much more heavily armored guards to the side. And he kind of motions, says, "This will be the gent taking care of getting you settled into Dissonance. In the meantime, I'll be preparing some small meals, because I'm sure y'all will be wanting it by the end of all this. I presume eggs and cheese are all right."
I love eggs and cheese at the same time.
If
All
that's
right.
all I have, that's what I'll have.
At the moment, it's all we really have. Harvest isn't. The season of harvest isn't for another few moons, anyway.
Cheese is fine. My character says.
Anyway, the man introduces himself as Bershio, and he takes you with the guards, all four of you, over to a corner and says, "Well, you do note the elven complexion on him, by the way." And he sits and says, "Well, I am Bershio. I am part of the Baron's welcoming committee, as he refers to it. Our specialty is ensuring that the individuals who've come down from Harmony no longer pose any threat to the city. Your penance has been served simply by surviving the landing. And though through the gods' flames you have been purged of your past, there are lingering concerns as we've had to deal with here. My understanding is you are accompanied by an orcish individual by the name of Ural."
Yeah.
The big wall guy.
Orcish. Orcish. Not familiar with that term, but okay.
And he is an orc. He's one of the land peoples here. He has never been to Harmony, but because he knows the land so well, he is in fact the guardian of this central region. He assists the Baron, and in turn, the Baron deals with the gods discarded, if you will, as he looks to you for. So, from the top, I'm here to take names, identifications, but most importantly, for what purpose were you cast from Harmony? please understand that there will be no repercussions for your actions up there. We merely wish to document the reasons should you show any further lapses.
I'd like to know that too, because I don't know what I did.
Indeed. Perhaps you could regale us with your time leading to your expulsion.
Hmm. Let's see. I woke up, changed, got my mace, got my books. Uh, hmm. Went to church, gave some blessings, healed the sick. Yeah, I didn't do anything.
And yet you find yourself cast from harmony, though you claim to be the perfect little child.
I grin.
He looks at you, not believing a word.
Oh.
Come now, there must have been something you did, even if it wasn't necessarily, well, even if it wasn't necessarily wrong. There does need to be a documented reason, else you'd not be here. Perhaps you had some enemies or some individuals that you might have crossed.
I may have sold some not so holy water. I
Hmm,
may have fudged through some paperwork. Uh,
carry on.
there may have been a time or two where I said I would be blessing them for a few gold coins here and there, and I might have forgotten to throw in the blessing here and there. It's a little foggy.
Serkaya, charlatanism, general impropriety, and failure to conduct professional ethics.
Oh.
Right. So, I believe we'll be able to find you some assistance here, if nothing else. The Baron will, of course, see to it that you are all given a chance to prove yourself in the city before making any final judgments. So, consider this your second lease on life, if you do not mind. And you, sir, looks to Jace.
I was caring for an animal, uh, nobleman of some sort. I don't believe it was my fault. I believe something was slipped into the animal's feed, but it died underneath my care. That is the worst that I have done, supposedly.
Jace accused, allegedly, allowed creature to die under watch, status undetermined. Yes, nobility are known for their rash behaviors, especially if they themselves suffer from spark madness. So, you, then, he points to Devon.
Mm. I may or may not have tried to steal a certain bit of forbidden magics.
You
Allegedly.
may.
Perhaps. That was
And
the
did you
accusation.
attain such magics?
Is that important?
Yes.
A little.
Oh. Um, out of game, could my hex magic be considered forbidden?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I see. Obtained undue magics, proceeded to conduct occult rituals, purveyor of warlock tendencies. I see. And for the record, this magic you obtained, is it catastrophic by any nature? Does it pose any significant threat to the city as a whole? We do have experts that could see to it, of course, if you wish to either be rid of it or to learn to contain it.
Uh, well, if I wanted to be rid of it, I wouldn't have taken it in the first place. Allegedly.
Attempts to deflect responsibility by using the word allegedly. We
But
shall conduct this at another. We shall delve further into your background at some point. There will be an additional inquiry for you as to the nature of this ability. I expect some kind of proper explanation in the future, but for now, this is only a preliminary inquiry. And you, the Tabaxi, your name is, and he looks at it and goes, Yikashi.
Yes.
For what reason were you cast out?
Uh, Let me see. I was a soldier. I did out as I was told, started moving up in the ranks, and became an apprentice of a knight. But the knight wasn't so knightly. Did some pretty interesting things, and I saw some. And apparently decided to cut me loose before he got caught.
Hmm.
And for some reason got all the, at least somehow got all the other nobles to have their own little trial of me, an unfair trial, to get me kicked out. Thus, I am here.
Mm-hmm. Claims of untoward behavior by superiors removed from post after presumably discovering signs of corruption. Ran afoul of harmony and nobility. He seems to be taking these notes, and you notice he's not writing the notes. He wrote some initial text, and then as he speaks, the words actually come across the scroll. And those of you looking actually note a faint glow along his forehead
Hmm.
as he rolls the scroll up. He says, "Well, it is safe to say that you four are indeed welcome in Dissonance, so long as you are no longer willing to, or whether you have in the past or not, so long as you are not willing to conduct yourself in a way detrimental to the city, and could find some way to be beneficiary, please. Now, more unto the greater concern, and that is you three. It would appear that despite the purge to your body, you've retained your magical properties. This is uncommon, but as you can see, not unheard of in the city. Many people that you will see were former wizards or clergy or scholars or individuals capable of casting spells but were no longer able to. Yet your spark seems to have retained it all.
Gray, we're gonna be looked at with envy.
Hence the green, he notions. For now, it is nothing too big to be concerned about. The Baron has made it very clear that those that still retain their magics are not to be discriminated against. However, should you find yourself in an uncomfortable position and you believe that to be the reasoning, please do not hesitate to come and inform us.
All right. Face kind of shrugs and nods.
Now, if there are any questions, I am, of course, responsible not only for the information as to the grand, large scale, or you may seek our dwarven compatriot for things more on the ground, as they were.
like lodging.
Yes, well, for that you'll want to speak to the Baron. He may, in fact, have a means for you to attain your own lodging. Will not be free, but he looks at the information he's gathered and says, but from what I can tell, you four might very well have the knack to work yourself into quite the position here.
Oh, is there an opening in something?
Not so much an opening as, shall we say, contractual work. You conduct yourself in the way the Baron sees fit, and of course the Baron rewards you with food, lodging, the things that you need to sustain yourselves.
Ah,
So we've been permanently uprooted?
Come again?
Where I'm stuck here forever.
I'm afraid I will never say Yes, entirely. For truly, who knows? Someday the gods may themselves see need to grant penance to the fallen and return them to their rightful place. But for whatever reason, there's a strict and solid understanding that once one has broached the clouded barrier, there is no known egress of return.
Even for those like us, and I kind of make a gesture towards. Because I would assume my character is aware that certain wizards, mages, have the ability of flight.
Yes, the issue is, for one, it is quite the distance. Even a traditional flight spell could not make that. Secondly, the magics that protected you while you were up there are no longer protecting you. You would die of suffocation. There was one individual, Sir Thameth, that sought to exploit a series of incantations and positions to gain the flight necessary to breach the clouds. Um, he hurtled to the ground an icy corpse not long after breaking through.
Right, that's good to know. I will not try to fly up there. I seem to be without certain implements. I make a gesture. How are those replaced down here?
If you're speaking to your arcane tools, they can be restored, and rather, we can we can provide replacements if you agree to assist the Baron. Otherwise, you may, of course, locate one of our wand rights to procure a replacement.
All right.
Essentially, you have a few options. You could take on general tasks within the city as needed. You can find yourself a place of employment outside of the Baron's immediate business, or if you wish to do contract work for him as needed, you're more than welcome to plead your case to him.
All right. So start my new life here after I see the Baron. That's what
Yes.
I'm getting at.
And, well, it is an option. It is an option that many of the more adventuring folk do begin with. Some are cast out for their failure to simply prepare a meal correctly, or perhaps the nobility did not care for their work, or they were branded a heretic and cast out. They have no such adventurous nature. The wilds would claim them in moments. So we do have avenues for that, but you four, you don't look to be the type to sit at home and sweep all day, I'm sure.
Not particularly. Jace kind of looks at the others.
No, I had people for that. Although I
Hmm.
guess I don't have those people anymore.
You do not.
Hey, maybe the Baron can get you some.
Hmm.
Well, what of course you make of the rest of the day is yours. However, if you wish to speak to the Baron, I'm sure I can arrange something tomorrow. In the meantime, you'll be in the common quarters this afternoon, since it is, of course, your first day here. I'm sure Katsi could use some assistance in the tavern just for tonight.
I'll go. I mean, Jace kind of shrugs and goes, "If are there any like stables or anything I could? I like working with animals. I calms my nerves."
Sure. We do have a number of stables here. Katsi has some that are from the outskirts, the farming villages, or villages. He just kind of motions with his fingers. Farming outskirts. They do bring animals in. I'm sure we can arrange something for sure.
All right. Well,
Any particular desires for the rest of you?
Could I get maybe just at least can I move about in the city on my own without being
Oh, of course.
harassed or stared at?
Uh,
Because obviously we're not from here.
most truly will look on you with the care that you are have unfortunately been given today. They'll look at you with a sense of pity, I suppose, but don't take it personal. Some of them remember their day that they fell. Others
All
have
right.
only heard stories from their parents.
Thank you. As long as I get, you know, a good run of the territory, I think I'll be good. I will
All
come
right.
back here though, because I would like to speak to the Baron as soon as possible.
Understood.
I was gonna go speak to the Baron as soon as I could.
That will have to wait until tomorrow. I'm afraid we are dealing with a situation that we discovered. Um, some people from the north apparently ventured a bit too deep into the woods and ran afoul of a creature. As- we're dealing with the situation, so the Baron is not in the mood to be taking care of, well, new people. Tomorrow he'll be
If
in a
he
much more agreeable mood.
if he's able to supply now, I wouldn't mind going out and help.
Um, well, as I said, he's in quite the foul temper at the moment. You would not be someone to cross right now, and your situation is unique in its own right. Also, we'd have to schedule a time to see, and that's usually handled in the morning. But no bother, it is only for tonight, so I suggest you get the lay of the land, as it were.
Yeah, can I just like walk around and call it a day until I see the
Yeah,
Baron tomorrow?
yeah.
All right, I don't mind
Um,
getting stared at. I get stared at all the time, so it's all good.
that's fine. So the four of you do, adventure around town and look around. Of course, Jace, you're brought to a number of stables. Uh, do you just want to do you want to attempt to roll, or do you want to just perform the menial tasks?
I would like to roll.
All right. So give me that animal handling roll. Bear in mind, you're only able to attain the comfort level that the general area can provide.
Yeah. +6. Oh, whew, I thought that was a 1 there for a second. That's an 11. So that's +6, 17.
17. While you're not quite used to working with pigs and farm mules and what you would honestly consider to be lesser creatures, it still is as calming as you would expect, and you do a very good job. You make a name for yourself in several stables, and even do, in fact, um, during the course of taking care of a horse, are told by a farmer, you know, there's this guy west of here out in the fields. He tends to go from farm to farm, helping out animals. Kind of an older gentleman at this point. Maybe I'll put in a good word for you, and see if you can't work for him. Aye.
I'd be much obliged.
Oh, it's a bit scruffy, and I mean it is a 15-year internship, but no worries. I'm sure afterwards you'll be making plenty on your own.
All right. I would look forward to hearing from him.
Mm-hmm. The rest of you get a feel for the town and just kind of spend the day wandering around. You find that is there anything specific any of you are searching for?
Nothing specific. Basically, taking note of which shops are where and sell what, and getting
All right.
familiar with the area.
You get the general area, of course, looking for different kind of shops or okay. Whew. Excuse me, it's getting a little warm in here. Um, but yes, you do spend time wandering around, looking about, and things go well. You get a general sense of where everything is. You find a couple of other taverns, actually, although they're not quite as welcoming. They are welcome, as you presumably seem to be a customer, and then they realize your situation, and you get that pity stare that you were warned about.
Mm.
So Kaya, Kaya, Kaya.
Hmm.
What about you?
Hmm. I don't have money, right?
No.
No. I'm a poor little gnome in the middle of nowhere. I say that out loud. Hmm.
Make a dramatics check. I don't know. Performance.
I don't think she needs to roll with that. I think she got a 20.
Dramatics. Let me see.
Performance.
I'm not 20.
Uh-huh.
Why? Why didn't you believe me?
So
She wastes all her.
you start doing that, and your performance seems to have worked a little too well, as it has come off as a play or an actual like performing in the middle of the stand or in the middle of the town, and a gentleman of rather striking look says, "Hark, for there be a young fair maiden, so dashing in her veneer, yet so downtrodden upon her luck. Pray thee, mistress, where might thou have hailed from?"
I hail from the sky, and here I am, alone, desolate, cold, afraid.
The play back and forth continues as the level of cheese might honestly reverberate into the other cities. Surprisingly though, in what can only be described as an interesting, if somewhat juvenile level play compared to yourself, you seem to have drawn a small crowd. And in doing so, they all also believe that you're doing this just to perform. You're not actually in the situation that you have found yourself to be. However, at the end of it, just this other individual talking about the greatness of dissonance, the way it echoes throughout civilization, the first taming of the lands, and the very symbolism of its heresy against the gods. About that part in, you go, wait, what? And he says, "Yes, yes, dissonance, for we find ourselves here upon this plain godless and cast out, but dissonance strikes above the clouds like a great obscene gesture." And he himself files a similar obscene gesture to the clouds and says, "We will prove ourselves to be no longer needing of these great beings above. Though they create us, they scorn us." And has a whole crowd cheer around him. Coins start getting thrown in your general direction. And the crowd disperses, seemingly a mix of almost a mix of anger, but a coordinated anger, as it would seem you've attracted a crowd of people who are rather bitter at their being cast out. As the crowd disperses, the gentleman kneels down and grabs a fistful of silvers and says, "Well, I would say you made for a most interesting and impromptu performer, my dear miss."
Thank you, thank you. It's it derives from actual what's it called? It's actually happening. So it was rather easy for me to put on a show when it's actually happening.
He says, "I knew I recognized you as an odd face. You're truly not from around here, I see. New in town, or the land, shall we say."
Yes, I nod.
"Well, cast out though we may be, together we shall find ourselves a strength far surpassing that of our creators. Tell me, to what name do I owe this pleasure?"
Kaya, and yours?
"Kaya. Yes. Well, my name is my name is Somos."
Somas. Okay.
Mhm.
Names here are a little different from where I'm from.
And how is that?
Well, I've never heard of that name.
Well, the name Somos, it's fairly common amongst the nobility, or at least it used to be, according to my great grandparents. This individual is human and about in his young 20s, from what you can tell. So he's probably had a couple of generations, and he himself has clearly never been to Harmony.
Hmm. Well then, I see you got a couple of those coins, and I kind of lean forward. Big
Of course,
guy.
of course, a performance of that nature does deserve its true reward, doesn't it? And he clearly pours the whole thing out and kind of splits it roughly in half and hands you what amounts to about 5 silver.
Heresy money.
And says, "So tell me, do you have as much of a chip on your shoulder as many of the others around here?"
No, 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 no. Life is much too short to be angry all the time.
Uh,
I simply roll with the punches.
ah, that's commendable. Sure, that's very commendable. I represent a group of people under the employ of the barony. His goals, of course, are similar as to what I've announced. We do our best to keep the visage here. He works tirelessly to ensure that this may someday become a great jewel rivaling that of Harmony.
Hmm.
So tell me, you being new, are we close?
Yes, I kind of whisper.
I mean the city. Do we does the luster of Dissonance rival the greatness of Harmony?
Uh,
The
Truthful.
answer is obviously no. Not
okay,
even close.
no.
Don't even try to lie.
No. What?
I see. We have much further to go still, but we will get there someday. They will not ignore us forever.
No, of
That's
course not. I do the superhero pose.
that's the spirit. And he kind of bumps onto your shoulder, not roughly. And says, "Well,
Good
I
enough.
must be off, but welcome to Dissonance, my dear."
Thank you. If I ever need anything, you're the only nice person that I've honestly met here. So
He looks
any
around and goes, oh, he looks around and goes, "Pay no mind to the others, though they are nice in their own right. They are wary. Some who are cast from Harmony do so or done so because of their great evils. They are merely wary.
Hmm.
They will warm in time, I assure you."
All right. Well, you're one of the nicer ones.
Oh, I must be off, but I will bid you a good eve, and I suggest you make your way back to the chalice before things get too dark.
I nod.
Mm. Um, so, last thing, anything else? Anyone else want to do something before we call it an evening?
I'm gonna have Yikashi not go back to the tavern during night.
Okay.
Just have her just roam about in the city, slinking around in the alleys, see what the nightlife has to.
All right. Well, the nightlife does not offer much. Things are fairly quiet. In and around the taverns, there is some activity, but for the most part, people seem to keep doors relatively closed. Make me a perception check.
Okay.
You don't need a perception check.
What did I do? What did I do?
It appears the town is under attack. And the siren.
Air raid.
Alright. The gods are bombing us.
We're waiting on a perception check, right?
Yes. I think she's lagged out because it says she's still talking, but we can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So I think we should just move on.
Continue. A mouth.
Technical difficulties. We'll take care of it later. So, as the eve draws to a close, so too shall we. The Well, that's a good question. We might. Welcome back. There.
Hi.
Hi.
All right.
What was your perception check?
My
And I'll be brief.
perception, I have 7.
So you roll a d20.
7 plus your perception skill. Or the dice roll was 7, correct?
No, my dice roll is 17. My perception is 7.
Jeez.
Oh, so 24.
Yes.
Yes.
You hear what can only be described as a scuffle, and kind of peering around, you look down one of the alleyways and you can see what appears to have been some kind of altercation, and it has long since been disposed of by the guards, as they have not only broken the situation up, but some individuals appear worse for wear in the alleyways. The guards have taken someone clearly unconscious and are dragging him towards a very large building off in the distance. It's the only structure you can see that has a third story, and it has watchtowers across all of it. Though not a castle in its own right, it does have a wooden fortress feel to it.
I'm gonna kind of tail them from a distance. It piques my
Mhm.
curiosity.
All right, make me a stealth check then.
Stealth at the bottom. I have 6 in stealth.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a 13 as a roll.
All right. We will conclude that next time.
Hey. No. Come on, that's not fair.
I would like to say a very, very, very big thank you to everyone for inviting me to come out of retirement GMing, as it were. It's been quite a while since I've GM'd, and I hope that at least the intro was exciting enough to get everyone going. Every other episode, I would like to do a little quick recap as how things are going, and Ian, you can kind of finagle with this or cut it out as necessary, but it might be insightful to leave in. So, very quick recap here. I'm not going to do this with the dice roll; that would take too long. So, Envy Rose.
Mhm.
Consider this like a little small recap after we've had our session. So, Yikishi has fallen from the clouds, landed, nearly gotten herself killed. What's going through her mind right now? It's like I guess kind of a story recap from Yikishi and then kind of a game recap from you, Rose.
Okay. So, as I was about to fall, anger, revenge. As I hit the ground running, saw a giant lizard. Frick, frick, frick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not
I
like
wish I
direct
had my
recap,
weapons.
but just like, so how's Yikishi feeling now? It'll make more sense when I get to Gavin.
Oh, okay.
To-
How she is right now?
Yeah.
Curious about the town and as to what she just saw, and wants to know how she can move up in her ranks in this town. Really, that's just about it.
Okay. So, Rose, how are you feeling as a player?
I am so ecstatic right now. I am like so happy. I get to play like an old school D&D game. This is like my first time going in with this. I'm excited. Oh my gosh, I'm curious and I'm scared, but this is awesome. I'm happy. I'm a happy kitten.
All right. So, Ural, you did your job. Good job.
Another day. Ural is. I mean, I'm sure he's seen stuff going wrong before. Like, I don't think the diseased flower is too shocking. It's concerning, but it's kind of there's only so many times you can be like, oh well, this is shit before you kind of expect it to be shit.
Yeah.
Um,
That was by design on my
Yeah,
end.
he's admittedly probably a bit worried about whatever's up north that the big Drake thing mentioned because, well, I mean, if it's worried about it, I should probably be worried too. But that's a problem for when I find the problem. Uh,
Right. So Gandhi, I'm finally out of retirement. You've known me for a while.
uh,
How rusty have I gotten? To be
I
honest.
haven't played in your campaigns, you fool.
Fair enough.
No, like I did like we got to the town. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna step away because I did basically all of the talking previously up to that point. So I'm like, all right, I'm good. Let them do their thing. Um,
All right.
but I mean, I like the story and whatnot. It is what it is. You know, I don't get to be a player often either, so I'm just kind of yeah, sure, we'll
All
roll
right.
with whatever.
So Kaya, Nappy Kitty.
Mm.
So first day, and you're already making money.
That's just what Kaya does. So she was previously really into making money and just kind of fooling people into doing that. So she saw an opportunity. It kind of just fell on her lap. So she rolled with it. And now she's kind of like, okay, so I might be able to find a place for myself on this part of the world or whatever it is, plane of existence.
I do want to highlight something that happened on your end. You rolled a natural 20,
Yes.
but it didn't mean that you magically got what you wanted. This
No.
is this is just something in D&D that has come up a lot. Like everyone hears the story of nat 20, I get what I want.
It honestly, I'm so glad that it wasn't just like I magically got stuff out of it 'cause I thought it was just gonna be dramatic. I didn't think anything past it 'cause I didn't intentionally try to do something grand. As stated, it just kinda, like, fell. So,
So then how are you feeling?
me as a player,
Mhm.
I haven't played D&D, traditional D&D in a while,
You're still
and
not playing traditional D&D, but
well,
I'm just kidding.
apart from, like, Chronicles of Darkness, I haven't played, like, high fantasy, I guess, like,
Yeah.
with mages and wizards and staffs and stuff like that. So, being thrown back into high fantasy, it's pretty fun. I like that I was able to kind of play a more eccentric character, and didn't feel very pressured to do or say certain things. So, I'm having fun. It's good. It's good.
Mhm. So Devin, rough first day.
Yeah.
How's Devin feeling right now?
Well, he's feeling like he's had a rough first day. uh, he's he's trying to figure out, he probably can't get back to the same level of comfort, obviously, that he had, but he would like to have a bit more. If I know it's kind of vague, but he wants more.
Mm, almost like that plays into the story.
Hmm.
So, Pooter, how you doing?
Well, this is pretty exciting. Like Envy, this is my technically my second time in 5e. I had one previous session months ago with a warlock, but it was only one session. We didn't finish, and I don't know when the next session's going to be. So yeah, if this continues, it'll be my first real 5e character.
All right. And finally, last but not least, Jace. First day off the bandwagon, and you're just getting right back to what you're doing. How's Jace feeling?
Uh, he's a creature of habit, so now that he's back to doing what he's used to doing, he's fine. Helps him collect his thoughts. Relatively, obviously, his stoic nature has already kind of shown itself a bit.
Yeah. So, Ian, how you doing?
I'm not DMing something finally. Cries.
Yay, Ian.
Cries an eternal DM.
All right.
Last time you got to play, not DMing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, as far as things on my end, this was like I said, this is my first time in, I don't want to say a year, but a good 6 months or more since GMing. My last game did kind of implode for reasons. A lot of it had to do with what else, other things that was going on at the time. But it has been a long time since I've properly DM'd a game. This is my first one that I've made notes for, written things down for. I hope everyone else took notes.
I did.
Nudge, nudge. Saying them all, saying them all.
An entire page.
And
Don't speak to any of these NPCs, so therefore he doesn't know.
fair. But it is nice to know that I haven't lost as much talent and skill as I thought I have. I appreciate everyone kind of pushing the story. The trick will be, this story is about you guys. The world works, the world continues, but the story is about y'all. So y'all are going to be just as important to pushing the story forward as I am going to be creating it. And so for that, I appreciate y'all taking cues and saying, hey, let's keep moving, let's keep going, let's keep chugging along, or let's talk. So I'm really excited about that. That's a really good sign. And yeah, with that, I'd like to say this has been Vincent Elwin, your game master. This is Harmony's Fall, and we are signing off.
Bye.
Thank you all for joining us for Harmony's Fall. We look forward to seeing you again. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Have a wonderful day.